So today we will discuss hypokalemia. Okay. So basically hypokalemia is nothing but uh, a decreased potassium level which is very common in ICU. There are number of causes of hypokalemia. First one is shifting of potassium in cells. Second one is renal wasting, and third one is external losses. There is one concept called as transtubular potassium gradient, which is very important in the cases of hypokalemia in ICU. Transtubular potassium gradient is nothing but it is a ratio of urine potassium into serum osmolarity divided by serum potassium into urine osmolarity. It should be less than 3, which indicate renal conservation of potassium. If it is more than 3, it indicates renal wasting of potassium. Okay. So what are the symptoms of hypokalemia? There are common symptoms of hypokalemia when the potassium level is less than 3 milliequivalent per liter. Neuromuscular symptoms are there, which includes fatigue, weakness, cramps, constipation, paralytic ileus, rhabdomyolysis, and ascending paralysis. Rhabdomyolysis and ascending paralysis is there when potassium level is very low, that is less than 2 milliequivalent per liter. There are few ECG changes during hypokalemia which are very common. It causes T wave flattening in ECG, ST segment depression, then U waves appearance, prolonged PR interval, and QRS widening is there. So how to evaluate hypokalemia? Okay, so this is flow chart which shows the evaluation of hypokalemia. In that we will see initially if there is hypokalemia, it could be spurious hypokalemia. When spurious means whenever there is increase in WBC count, when WBC count is more than 1 lakh, there is false hypokalemia. Okay, and other is because of transcellular shift. Other cause is decreased total body potassium. Whenever we come across decrease in total body potassium, what we will do? We will look for potassium intake or increased losses. Increased losses occur when there can be renal loss or there can be extra renal loss. So whenever there is renal loss, urinary potassium will be more than 20 milligram per deciliter. Means there will be loss of potassium in urine. That's why there is hypokalemia. Or transtubular gradient, which we have already discussed, it will be more than 3. When there are extra renal losses, causes are vomiting, diarrhea, then RT suction, which is commonly done in ICU, or urinary potassium less than 20 and transtubular gradient less than 3. This is the difference between renal losses and extra renal losses. That is, in renal losses, urinary potassium more than 20 is there, and transtubular gradient is more than 3, which in case of extra renal loss, urinary potassium less than 20 and TTKG also less than 3. So in extra renal losses, there are causes which are divided into two parts: hypertensive patients and non-hypertensive patient. Whenever extra renal loss is there and patient is hypertensive, the few syndromes are there: primary hyperaldosteronism, renovascular or malignant hypertension, Cushing syndrome, Liddle syndrome, or congenital adrenal hyperplasia. When patient is normotensive, so normotensive patient with extra renal loss, so chances of diuretic induced hypokalemia, Bartter syndrome, or Gitelman syndrome. But in ICU, diuretic use is very common, so extra renal loss could be because of the diuretics. Okay, so how you will manage this hypokalemia? So management hypokalemia, we will see how it is managed. So first of all, in treatment, we must reverse the cause of hypokalemia, which is obvious cause of hypokalemia. We must try to treat it. So discontinue diuretics and correct magnesium if it is less, because hypokalemia and hypomagnesemia are associated. So resistant hypokalemia can be there when there is a decrease in magnesium level. So first of all, we shall evaluate and treat hypomagnesemia. So if patient with hypokalemia is symptomatic, what we should do? IV 40 milliequivalent of potassium should be given per hour while doing ECG monitoring and serum potassium monitoring. This is very simple, but in detail we will have to explain it in next lecture. So correction of potassium is a very big topic. So other patient, those who are asymptomatic. Okay, so the patient could be in metabolic acidosis or in alkalosis or normal pH. When patient has metabolic acidosis, we should correct potassium with potassium citrate or potassium bicarbonate. When patient has alkalosis and patient is normotensive, we should use oral potassium, and when patient is hypertensive and has alkalosis, we must use potassium sparing diuretics like spironolactone, right? So this is basic of potassium hypokalemia and management of hypokalemia in short. Okay.